Alright, folks. I'm gonna do one more cast, or recording, I guess, this morning. This here is Showtime. And over here we got Lambo. Protoss v Zerg. 25 minutes. It's gonna be a good game. I can feel it. Look at it. This nice symmetrical map called Year Zero. Spooky as heck looking. We got Lambo mining his shit. We got Showtime mining his shit. Put down a pylon right down here. Scouting with the overlords. There's a Zelnaga tower right there. Alright. So what we got is, we got this main base. And then this natural. And then it gets all funky here. It's like hard to tell. I guess this here is a high ground position which is kind of open. And that's very close to the enemy if you break those rocks. Whereas this here is a little more out of the way, probably easier to defend. Here's the probe scout coming in. He sees the Zerg expansion. What's this? Gateway, of course. He's got his gas. Getting his gas. Building some drones. The probe is stealing some minerals like a fucking douchebag. He's got the spawning pool up. He sees the spawning pool. Cybernetics core and a Nexus. So they're both going a pretty standard route here. Nothing fancy. Chrono boosting out an adept. Probe is running because the Zerglings are out. I guess he must have known those Zerglings were coming out. The little Scantipede gets bumped aside by this combat. He doesn't give a fuck. What's he going for? Third expand? Yup. I mean, I guess it's the second expand. It's the third base. So the Zerglings are scouting. They left the probe alone. The adept is gonna run in and I guess try and zoop some stuff, you know. He doesn't really want to take that because the queen's right there. What else we got? Building another adept. He's got a Stargate. Phoenix. Okay, so these two adepts think it's a good idea to... What the fuck are they doing? They must have shaded out. Yeah, they shaded back home. I don't know why they thought that was a good idea. Gateway. Okay. More gas. So he's probably going into the gateway Stargate. Maybe he's gonna try and kill some overlords with this Phoenix. Boom, boom, zap him, zap him. Yep. That's an oracle, that's fun. Not gonna do much good though, is it? Yeah, he's already got the spore crawler down, so that oracle's almost dead. The Phoenix's shields are down. They're not trying to fight that, right? Not that many Lings. Pretty well defended right here. It's got a rowboat too. Building up. Ooh, this will be good. Warping in more adepts. Building a whatchamacallit, a warp prison. Looks like he's thinking about his third. He's got a nice, pretty little wall off there. That overlord is gonna get killed. Got a Twilight Council, got a bunch of gates. Well, not a bunch. Yeah, he's got 4 gates. That's pretty good. Zerg player. He's got his creep spread. Okay, he's still harassing with this shit. Got his creep spread. Not that much except a spawning pool. Showtime, Lambo. Yeah, so Lambo here doesn't have very much except the spawning pool. He's got a bunch of queens, which will be good against this air pressure. He's got 2 Archons down there in this warp prison, which, you know, has unlimited potential for fun. This army's going to try and close in on him. It's not going to do that well. They're going to try and take out the warp prison with these queens, which makes sense. That's too many queens for the warp prison to reliably harass, so it has to go home. Which means the Zerg gets to keep macroing. Yeah, okay, so he's got roaches out now, which will be good against the Archons. The Archons kind of want to fight now. I'm not sure if they saw those roaches. They would have wanted to fight before the roaches. So these queens, yeah, everything's going to try and go home because they're afraid he's going up here. He seems like he's just trying to kill Zerglings. Is that a Hydra? Yeah, there's Hydras out now. That's going to, like, shut down this warp prison harass. Warp prison is... I like how it dropped those Archons there to defend itself. But this warp prism is pretty severely in danger. I don't know what these probes are going to do. There's one Phoenix just sitting there. You can see the creep spread is good. He's got 4 bases. He's got some Immortals back home. Some High Templar back home. Working on Storm. Adding more gates. Getting weapons. Zerg looks like they have an army now, right? Like, they could push with this. That's a lot of Hydras. They could push with this if they wanted to. You know, I think Lambo's pretty good at composition. You know, it's like, it's almost 8 minutes into the game. He's got Hydras, Roaches, and Lings. But that's still all he needs. That's a pretty good balance. And he's just putting as much of it into macro as possible. Protoss player has 4 bases now. That's a nice little move there. But what's he got? He's got 3 Immortals, 4 High Templar, and 3 Adepts. And it's like, oh, there's more Immortals up here, but that's like a lot of area to cover. You know, he's a bit spread out. And that army doesn't have that much stopping power. You know, it's like, it's a little fancy, but I'm not sure it'll do that well in a pitched battle. Meanwhile, Lambo's spreading the creep out. He's got a big army there. Got a significant supply lead too. Those roaches are just like sneakily waiting there. Yeah, they're looking for an opportunity to break through. Somehow they got banelings on the other side. That's pretty funny. Taking their time. It's a big ass army. You notice how the creep spread gets him onto this high ground in the center there? And then from there, it's like a pretty short march to get to an enemy base. You know, he can go this way. He can go this way. And you can see the Protoss laid traps there. Protoss is ready for it. I'm not sure. They probably have scouted this creep.
Mineral field depleted.
Okay, you can see from his perspective. He knows the Zerg is getting ready to fight. They're like punching in, they're scouting with those lings.
I am here in the shadows.
Let's just take a quick look at what he's got. He's got cannons and shield batteries down here. That'll be a good position to defend. He's got nothing here. Got a nice wall off here, but no shield batteries. He's got carriers. Big part of his army is here, and some up here. You can see he's got all of his tech at home. Bunch of gates. I don't know, man. I don't like the look of this. Just because, like, his army's split. He's got some stuff here and some stuff here. His forces are not concentrated, and he does not see that the Zerg have creeped all the way to the center of the map now.
Our forces are under attack. Metamorph, our forces are under attack.
Yeah, so that little probe is getting shut down there. But Lambo is massing his forces. That's a good spot because you can go that way or that way. I think he knows that those oracles have been dropping those stasis mines. That's a brutal storm. Damn. He just had to totally flee. Meanwhile, it's nothing. Cleaning up some... Oh yeah, those guys are getting linged. Okay, great. So it looked like he had to retreat because of those storms, but he's still got just so much excess force that he's willing to push in. I think the Protoss army is still here kind of waiting, but it feels small. Those carriers are vulnerable when you got that many Hydralisks. These guys, yeah, they're clever. They're just like probing in. That's a very disposable attack. Gonna get some probes. Won't shut down the expansion, but they bring the army out of position. Oops, did I? Let me go back a second, because I was concentrating on that harass when I believe the Zerg army was getting destroyed. We gotta watch both perspectives, you know. Alright. Yeah. So, there's that expansion up there he's about to take out. He sends both armies in at the same time.
Our pylon is under attack.
You can see he gets revealed. He gets stormed fucking savagely. And then cleaned up by those immortals. And then there's a big ass Protoss army there now. He's got a mothership. That's what makes the difference. So those infestors, there's broodlords out now. Yeah, so Lambo's okay with it, right? Like, he lost all that shit, but he transitions into infestors, broodlords. This Protoss army, I think maybe should realize that it's about to get wrecked, but, you know, it feels like it just won a battle. It needs to claim something. The main army is not responding to this attack. I guess he's pretty confident he'll be able to wrap this up. See the lings start hitting the immortals. Yeah, so like, duh. You send a tiny little Protoss army onto creep. you're gonna get some creepy shit popping out from behind you. He's making that same mistake that last guy did. He's afraid to fight directly, so he's cleaning up creep. Yeah, now that is a scary army. That's a shit ton of broodlords and infestors. And also, they don't want to fight that over those spore crawlers, because all the good shit is an air army. So, I think Protoss is about to get Lambo'd, if I had to guess. See, he's like moving around like he doesn't know what to do with this army. Is he sending another push in the same direction? Because I'll tell you the same thing's gonna happen with it. This is really good. I mean, it's like just a classic Zerg strategy, right? Like, he started with Roach, Hydra, Lane, which is pretty balanced. Mostly tries to defend on creep and macro. You notice he has like twice as much creep as he needs for his bases. So he can control all this area, and he can expand whenever he wants. He's got a fucking shit ton of spore crawlers. And he can just keep moving them up to seize more ground. And again, these guys just keep trying to come in here and push in here, and they, you know, it's like Immortals are not good against Zerglings. You don't even need to watch that. You know, cover your eyes. These fucking stupid zealots here. Oh, they're not zealots. They're weird. Again, you know, they're trying to clean up creep like that's gonna make a difference. They hit him with the revelation. That's a nice idea, I guess. I don't know, I feel like a shit ton of Void Rays would make a difference here. They're both pretty much maxed out, but if Protoss loses this army, they're done, because they don't have time to rebuild it. Whereas Lambo, I think Lambo could just reinforce this army and remake it over and over for days. He's also probably getting ready to push out. He's gonna like start with some lings. Nice hits there. But he's gonna start. I mean, he doesn't like fighting when he's revealed like this. It's a good move putting those shield batteries up there. Yeah, Zerg knows you can push up in either direction. I guess he'd prefer to go for this base where he can cause some damage. So he puts the spores like in range of everything. And then drops down a huge number of infested Terrans, which get zapped up by the little interceptors. I don't know what that thing is. I don't think I've ever seen that before. Well, I guess maybe it held the Zerg off somehow. I mean, but like the way he's besieging this, he's probably gonna blow up that Nexus soon. And that's a good Nexus to be mining off of. And nasty fungal growth. Protoss doesn't look like they feel like they can engage right now. They're both like sort of keeping their distance, but Zerg with all these broodlords is fighting with free units, so they get to destroy all the buildings. They can keep expanding that creep and pushing. They can keep sniping off units. It's got a bunch of corruptors ready to morph into new broodlords. He is a little low on broodlords now, but look at that. He moves those spine crawlers up, advances the creep. He could be flanking this if he wanted to, but I think he needs anti-air, so he's keeping his forces concentrated. He does have all those spine crawlers, so that this army doesn't have much, not spine crawlers, spore crawlers. He has all those spore crawlers, so this army doesn't have much option. Good move to clean those up. But all those corruptors are going to be good against interceptors because they're like armored anti-air units, right? Now he's pushed back defending this base. Mothership gets fungled. Another one of those fucking shields. I don't know. I mean, I feel like Protoss must know he's losing now. He's basically getting sieged down. I don't know what all those changelings are for. Like, he's still got Storm, but this is not the kind of army you storm against. Like, it's a huge army, but these are all heavily armored units with lots of health. So, it's like, the Storm isn't going to be that effective. Like, you want to use Storm against light units. And, you know, it's just like, in spite of all these carriers, he cannot push in. Brought the probes out to try and blow up these spore crawlers. And, you know, twice as many just come in immediately. So I guess you could say this is all about map control. Look at that. He pulls back the infestors and brings in the corruptors instead. He just knows what to fight with and when. He has just these 3 groups of units. Multiple storms, and the broodlords fly through them. Because now he's got the army trapped. Now he's going to go for the kill. Mothership is going to go down in a second. There we go. Yeah. So now it's Pound Town, you know. I mean, they made a kind of clever escape going over that rift, but they've got very little left, whereas this army looks barely dented. I guess he pulls back because he doesn't want to fight into those cannons. He probably could have finished it there. He's like playing with his food at this point. I can see why people like Lambo. Like, you know, he doesn't seem like that exciting. Like, you're never like, oh my god, he did that, you know, but he's definitely playing Zerg really well. Like, this is a really good composition, and this, to be honest, is not a great composition. I think mass carriers is sort of like a meme army. And in this battle, it's just seemed too, like, whiffly. Like, I know they have a really high damage output, but not against all this armor. Not against, like, this flock of high health shit. I'm not sure, honestly, what you do against this as Protoss. I would have been dead years ago. You probably just don't let him get there. I think if he mixed this army more, it would be helpful. You know, it's like if he had a bunch of Archons and bunch of Void Rays would really help. Tempests, you know, would help. Yeah, I mean, if he had Tempests and he focused down those Broodlords, that would do a lot of good. Focus down the Broodlords and Corruptors with like a Tempest Mothership thing, that probably would help. But he rebuilt carriers instead of rebuilding Tempests. Yeah, see, now he's got a few Void Rays. And I'm sure those Void Rays will sort of like punch out of their class in terms of removal. But look at that, he's got one base, another coming up. That one's almost mined out. But like he can take, well, yeah, I mean, he's got that one. I don't know. He could take that one if he wanted to. He could probably get that one. I mean, this Protoss is doing pretty well again. Like, they're both back to being maxed out, and the Zerg hasn't seized much territory. But all of his bases except that one are pretty much mined out. Which means he needs to gain map control. He needs to win a battle and push in. Like, if he could take all of this area, he'd have a chance. But he still doesn't want to and or cannot engage this. Ooh, there we go. Look at that. Mothership gets sniped. I mean, he's been looking for that all game. And I guess there must be another mothership in production. Yeah, it's being chronoed out. At least I assume that's a mothership. Yeah. But, you know, at this point, he can push in. I mean, I still say he's sort of playing with his food. Oh, he must be... He's going for the base race. Good. Zerg is pulling back. I mean, this is probably what he needed to do. He needed to convince Zerg to pull back. And he can fight up in this space up here, so he doesn't have to fight over creep. Which means, you know, he's less likely to get cornered. I think Zerg could have gone for a base trade here, or could have at least left some stuff to start killing base, because, you know, he doesn't even need all that to engage Protoss. Could have forced him into the void. He could have been dealing damage to his base this whole time. Well, there's only a few minutes left, so there must be a GG coming soon. I think Protoss doesn't have that much left to be mining with. So if he loses, there we go. That's the fumble that ended this fucking game. That's what it is. He just gets fungled down, and then Zerg finally dives in. I'm getting lag on my computer. They might have been getting lag on their computer, but you know, at a certain point, you're just watching this, and you know there's nothing you can do. Warping in something futile. His entire army just vanished. That's it. I mean, I'm not sure I could even point to a moment where I could say that this was the decisive moment in this game. I can like scroll back and you can look at the map here. Right? Like, okay, so at this point, you know, they're equal. Alright, Zerg macros up, gets more bases. You know that's how they do it. This point, I think, is pretty key. Where Protoss seized that base at the bottom that I said maybe they shouldn't have. Like, they should have taken the one on the top. Like this one. But, you know, after that, he's trying to defend this whole long frontier. And Zerg's got creep halfway across the map, controlling the center. Got creep on the Zelnaga tower. And then Protoss tries to get this base, which by now is already sort of under threat. And then he's got a creep corridor directly onto this spot, which gives him access to all of these bases, so he can threaten, which keeps the Protoss army locked down in this area, sort of defending, while he's just macroing back here. You know, so it's like they say the best offense is a good defense. And then from that point, you can see where the armies are moving. They're totally fighting within this zone on the Protoss side of the map. So like from this middle point, as soon as Zerg controls the center, the entire battle takes place on the Protoss side of the map, which means that the Zerg can safely macro behind it. So you could say probably I would say like right around here is where Lambo wins this game. So let's look at like right before he seizes that. Keep in mind, Protoss has already decided to take this bottom base, which I said was a mistake. He's got his army building up down here, and he should already know he doesn't want to have to defend this whole range. I mean, he has an air army, so it's fairly mobile and it's able to defend that, but even an air army is kind of slow in Protoss. And okay, so Zerg is wrecking these rocks on both sides so that they get access via creep to this whole area. That's one good move. Protoss knows those rocks are down, but they want to put up a base, but those Zerglings are coming in. They managed to push back everything and take that base. But Zerg can kind of wait here knowing that base isn't safe. Macro behind it. Push, you know, he can push any way he wants. Putting up creep. Putting up creep just like that. See that? He can push down here and threaten. He can push up this way and threaten. You can see Protoss, maybe they're being a little cowardly here. They put those mines right there when it's really like it's this high ground that they need to control so that they can get that center. It's this high ground and they're not fighting for it. They're building their perimeter right here, which is sort of almost inside of their safe area. They need this. They probably need this too, and they're letting the Zerg have that. You know, so they need this point and this point so they can project power over this whole central area. They need this point too, that ramp. You know, there should be a mine right there, so those Zerglings get like boofed, and then like the Protoss zaps them, you know. But Zerg's got that high ground. You see how they're fighting up that hill? So yeah, he gets that good kill. And then the problem is, yeah, so he warps in those guys and goes for the counterattack like deep into enemy territory where he can get easily flanked by reinforcements with all those expensive units, where what he should be doing is building a defense and gaining like permanent control of this area. Making pretty much the same mistake up here. He's going heavily into air, building static defense on this base, not on this hill. He's not keeping the creep from spreading up this hill. If the creep gets up here, then the Zerg can get up and down that hill easily. Same thing here, you know, I was pointing it out a minute ago, now it's already too late. Now the Zerg has this hill. He needs to clear that out, build pylons, cannons, and batteries on there, and here, and then he can fight in the center where this army currently is. But he doesn't manage to do that. So this game, if I had to explain it, I think I would say it's about map control. And I think I'm done. Thanks for watching.